It is Friday afternoon, April 10th. And how do I know that? Why, because it is fan-requested Friday, and this is the second matchup. So go request your match really quick, and maybe you'll get to see it next week. Robby Robinson versus Frank Zane, 1978. This is the Olympia, but guys, it was impossible to get all the 8 mandatory shots. There was actually only a couple of shots from this Olympia. So I am basically taking all of the best of Frank Zane from the 70s and the best of Robby Robinson, of course, using the 1970s footage of him. And this is the front relaxed position, and the picture that I did get this from, Robby was out-angled. He was looking much smaller than Zane, and as we know, these guys are around the same height. Robby has definitely a few pounds on Frank Zane, but having said that, you can definitely see the proportions are there for Robby. Look at the legs and the upper body. Massive amounts of muscle on Zane. Of course, Zane has some quality, detail, and conditioning that Robby will have to deal with. Of course, in shots like this, it will be Frank Zane that has to deal with that size of Robby Robinson, my favorite bodybuilder of all time. Did I mention that? Look at the quads and the hanging hamstrings on Robby Robinson. This is back in the 70s, mind you. This is, of course, a picture of Robby from the 78 Olympia. I believe it is a 79, perhaps, of Zane. Pretty much the equal conditioning. That might even be a 78. Who knows? Either way, Robby just flatlining Frank Zane. Here's a shot of the Olympia in question. And again, Robby is being out-angled. Let's not misconstrue the situation. I don't see any way, shape, or form that Frank Zane would ever touch Robby in the front double bicep. Here's another one of the event in question. And look at the biceps, guys. Even here, Frank is probably bigger because of the camera angle, and nothing doing. Robby's legs, twice as large, the arms, twice as big, and the waistline looks smaller even. I'm here to tell you, Robby, so far, it looks good for this man. And don't get me wrong, guys. Frank Zane, the quality and the conditioning might be a little bit better. Of course, his conditioning is a hair better than Robby's. But that's more than a hair size difference of the legs and the arms. And like I said, the waistline is smaller for Robby. This is a blowout victory as far as the front double bicep is concerned. Could not find the front lat spread of Robby Robinson from the 78. This is a 1980, I believe, of the World Championships. How different could he be in a couple of years? If anything, he was better in 78. Frank Zane, he looks good in this shot, and I'm not going to be unbiased with this one, or I have to be unbiased, rather, because Robby is my favorite, and I want to pick him for every pose. But it's just not the case when I look at the upper body. It's a battle. It's more than a battle. At the end of the day, Robby still would get the edge when you look at the lag department. I don't know, guys. I'm starting to think that this was a little bit of a controversial victory for Zane in 78. It's picture quality like this that kept me from doing a video on this subject up until now. Of course, this is a fan request, so I have to do what you want. And like I said, this picture quality sucks. This is a side chest shot from the 78, and I'm here to tell you, look at the conditioning, the mounds of muscle on Robby. There's no way Frank would have beat him in this shot. Maybe the side tricep, which we don't have a comparison of. But even if he did get the side tricep, look at this side chest. There's no way that he would have beat Robby in this. And this is a bad angle. Keep that in mind. Rear lat spread will forever be known as a mystery shot between these two. Hard to get a rear lat spread of Zane, period. And it's darn near impossible to get one of Robby in the 70s. These are both photo shoots. Both of them have their qualities. Robby is leaning back, creating just a unbelievable small waist and a just monstrous wingspan. But Zane has a little bit of a Christmas tree. You see, I spent more time embellishing on Robby's lat spread. But like I said, inconclusive because we don't have two on stage rear lat spreads. This is a rear double by of the event in question, and this is not fair at all. I believe Robby is maybe mocking Zane, doing a Frank Zane double bicep, but this is not the shot that Robby generally hit. This is probably the photographer taking it at the right time to get them both hitting at the same time, this type of shot. Furthermore, the lighting, it's shadowed for Robby. You cannot see the detail. So right then and there, Zane gets an edge. So I don't like to use this one. Here's, I think, a fair comparison. This is maybe a year or two after the 78 for Robby and a few years after for Zane. So it's a pretty much on par rear double by. I believe Robby just had a better back. It's bigger, more thick, muscular when you look at the traps. Obviously, Robby's winning in the legs every shot. And if that's not enough, look at the biceps, guys. I get a little bit giddy when I think that Robby's actually going to win a match. I mean, this is he only competes against the top flight competition, but this is serious business, guys. He could be an uncrowned Mr. Olympia champion. Zane definitely wins the ab and thigh. There is no debate on that, no question at all. There isn't even a picture of Robby hitting the shot. But it doesn't matter. There's just no way that he could beat Zane. That's probably Zane's best shot. And we're actually showing a vacuum pose, for lack of a better term. I mean, this is not an ab and thigh, but I think you could use a vacuum pose as an ab and thigh. Robby Robinson, he did show up to do battle, as you can see. Look at the V-taper, the lats, and not to mention the thigh. I could actually see a novice bodybuilding fan that doesn't know Zane or his vacuum to give this one to Robby. Not me, though. I'm smarter than that. Look at that vacuum. Much more concaved than Robby Robinson's. But I believe, guys, Robby is just too far ahead in this competition. And the most muscular is the final shot. But of course, we don't count the most muscular because it was not a shot in the 70s. But as you can plainly see, Robby's arms are just so much bigger. Look how little Robby's head looks in this picture. Who am I kidding? Like Robby needed that shot to beat Zane. I mean, he beat Zane anyway in the most muscular shot. And this is a 78 Robby, I do believe. Don't quote me on that. Either way, guys, using the picture quality that I did have and that I had access to, Robby Robinson, in my opinion, won the 1978 Mr. Olympia title and perhaps the 77 one as well. Who knows? Throw in the 79 as well. Of course, if he did win the earlier ones, he would have been on fire, unstoppable, would have created the Robby Robinson dynasty. Cream rises to the top, though. We as fans, we do see Robby, and we've seen the performances that he had, and he can hold his head up high and say that he should have won the title. Of course, he's not one to do that. He's not a whiner like a Mike Menzer who's crying, complaining. Anyway, guys, this is a fan-requested Friday. Thank you to the big picture, and you were right. Robby should have won the Olympia. At least one time, guys. He is my favorite bodybuilder of all time. And if you ever wondered why, I will make a video on that subject, I'm sure. But there's a better question. Why isn't Robby Robinson your favorite bodybuilder? Why wouldn't he be? Anyway, guys, hit a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you have not already. Have a good one.